She was a powerhouse CEO, a queen in a world of glass and steel. He was the quiet janitor who mopped the floors after everyone had gone home. To the world, they were from different universes. She married him for his kindness, unaware that the man she said, "I do," to was living a double life. What happens when a threat from his secret past forces the humble janitor to become the elite commando one last time? This is a story about the secrets we keep for love and the unexpected strength found in the most ordinary places. Before we dive into this incredible story, if you're inspired by tales of hidden strength and redemption, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on notifications. It helps us bring more powerful, real-life stories like this one directly to you. The 65th floor of the Ethereum Corporation skyscraper offered a breathtaking view of the city. For Alara Vance, it was a landscape of her own making. At 34, she had built a tech empire from a dorm room idea, and now her days were a whirlwind of board meetings, investor calls, and strategic decisions that move markets. Her office was a testament to minimalist luxury, polished concrete, floor-to-ceiling glass, and a single, living wall of moss that required meticulous care. It was past 10 p.m. The office was silent, save for the low hum of servers. Alara was burning the midnight oil, preparing for a merger that would define her company's future. Frustrated, she crumpled another sheet of paper and missed the trash can. As she bent to pick it up, a soft voice spoke from the doorway. "Long night, Miss Vance?" She looked up. It was Leo, the night janitor. He was tall, with quiet steadiness about him that seemed at odds with his uniform. His eyes, a striking shade of hazel, held a depth she'd never noticed in anyone else. He held a push broom, his grip oddly precise. "Just a few more hours," she said, offering a tired smile. Leo entered, his movements efficient and silent. He picked up the crumpled paper and disposed of it. "The moss is looking a little pale. It needs less artificial light. Maybe move it to the corner for a few days." Alara blinked, surprised. "You know about Selaginella kraussiana?" "A bit," he said simply, not meeting her eyes. He began sweeping, creating a perfect pile of dust. There was a grace to his work, a mindfulness that transformed a mundane task into something almost artistic. Over the next few weeks, these late-night encounters became their ritual. He'd bring her a cup of chamomile tea exactly at 11 p.m., knowing her caffeine cutoff time. She'd find little notes left on her desk with his cleaning. A quote from Seneca, a line from a Mary Oliver poem. He never overstepped, never asked for anything. He just saw her, not the CEO, but the exhausted woman buried under the weight of her own success. One night, a key investor, a man named Mr. Sterling, stayed late, his tone becoming increasingly aggressive as Alara rejected his unfavorable terms. Leo entered silently to empty the trash. Sterling dismissed him with a wave of his hand. "We're not done here. The help can wait." Leo's eyes flicked to Alara, a question in them. She gave a slight, almost imperceptible nod of assurance. Instead of leaving, Leo began meticulously cleaning the glass table between them, his presence a silent, unnerving barrier. Sterling became flustered, his bluster fading under Leo's calm, unwavering silence. He left shortly after. "Thank you," Alara said after the elevator doors closed. "He shouldn't speak to you that way," Leo said, his voice low. It wasn't the subservient tone of an employee. It was a protective statement of an equal. In that moment, the CEO and the janitor simply saw each other. The first thread of connection, fragile and unexpected, was spun in a silent, polished office high above the sleeping city. The foundation of a secret. The charity gala was Ethereum's biggest event of the year. The grand ballroom shimmered with the city's elite, politicians, celebrities, and titans of industry. Alara, in a stunning emerald gown, was the undisputed center of attention, working the room with practiced ease. Yet she felt a familiar emptiness, a loneliness that even champagne and accolades couldn't fill. The conversations were about portfolios and market shares. No one asked if she was tired. Her eyes scanned the room and found him. Leo was part of the catering staff, hired temporarily for the event. He was carrying a tray of champagne flutes, blending into the background like furniture. But Alara saw the difference. while other waiters weaved clumsily. Leo moved with a panther-like grace through the crowd, anticipating movements, never spilling a drop. His posture was ramrod straight, his gaze constantly, subtly scanning the room. It was the hyper-awareness of a Secret Service agent, not a server. During a quiet moment near the kitchen doors, she approached him. "I didn't know you did catering, too." "Extra work is extra work, Ms. Vance," he said, offering her a glass of water instead of champagne. "You should hydrate." She took it, her fingers brushing his. A jolt, electric and undeniable, passed between them. "You always seem to know what's needed," she whispered. Later that night, a drunk and belligerent guest, a son of a prominent family, grabbed a young server's arm, making her cry out. Bouncers were moving in, but Leo was there first. He didn't shove or yell. He simply placed himself between the man and the server, spoke a few quiet words into the man's ear, and applied pressure to a point on his wrist. The man's face went from red to pale, and he immediately released the server and apologized, scurrying away. It was over in seconds, noticed by almost no one. Ilera had seen it all. The precision, the control, the instant de-escalation. It was professional. Driven by a curiosity she couldn't explain, she did something she never did. She looked up his employee file. It was sparse. Leo Walsh. Address in a modest but not rough part of town. Emergency contact. Blank. Previous employment. Various manual labor jobs across the country. It was the resume of a drifter. It didn't add up. The man who quoted poetry, understood horticulture, and disarmed aggressive men with surgical precision did not fit the data on the screen. The conflict wasn't external yet. It was internal, brewing within Ilera. Who was this man? The more time she spent with him, the more the humble janitor persona seemed like a carefully constructed shell. But what was he hiding? And why did she, a woman who trusted data above all else, feel so completely safe with him? The mystery of Leo Walsh was a puzzle she found herself desperately wanting to solve, even if it meant risking her carefully ordered heart. The proposal in the rain. The merger was finalized. Ethereum was now a global powerhouse. Ilera stood in her empty office, the city lights blurring through a sudden, violent downpour. She had won. So why did it feel so hollow? Her phone buzzed incessantly with congratulations, but the only person she wanted to talk to was the one man who wouldn't call. The one man who saw her victory as just another long night. She couldn't shake the feeling. The file, his skills, the quiet sadness that sometimes flickered in his eyes when he thought no one was looking. She had to know. She drove to his apartment, a small, well-kept duplex with a neat little garden out front, surprisingly lush for a rental. The rain soaked her through as she ran to his door. He answered, dressed in a simple gray t-shirt and sweatpants, a book in his hand. His surprise at seeing her was genuine. "Ilera, what are you doing here? You're soaked." "I need to know who you are, Leo," she blurted out, rainwater dripping from her hair. "The file, the way you move, the things you know, it doesn't make sense. Who are you really?" Leo's face tightened. The easy warmth in his eyes cooled into guarded caution. This was the line he never crossed. "The file is what it is. I'm just a man who fixes things and cleans up messes. You fix Sterling. You fix that man at the gala. You fix my Moss. You—" Her voice broke. "You fix the silence in this room when you're in it." She stepped inside. His apartment was Spartan. Neat, clean, almost impersonal, except for one bookshelf. It was filled with philosophy, history, and several books in what looked like Spanish and Arabic. On the wall was a single, framed photograph of a group of men in military gear, their faces blurred, standing in a dusty foreign landscape. Leo was among them, younger, his eyes harder, but unmistakable. He saw her looking and moved to block the photo. "Ilera, you shouldn't be here." "Tell me," she pleaded, her CEO facade completely gone, leaving only a vulnerable woman standing in a puddle on his floor. "Please, I need to know the man I'm falling in love with." The word hung in the air between them. Love. Leo looked at her, truly looked at her. He saw the rain, the courage it took for her to come here, the raw honesty in her face. He saw the woman behind the title. The battle in his eyes was visceral. Duty versus desire. Secrecy versus connection. He took a deep, shuddering breath. I can't tell you everything. Not yet. But I can tell you that the man you see, that's the man I choose to be. The man I want to be. For you. He didn't explain the photo. He didn't explain the skills. Instead, he got down on one knee, right there on the damn floor. He took her hand. His was calloused, strong, real. Ilera Vance, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I have nothing to my name but this simple life. I have no fortune or title to offer you. All I have is my promise to protect you, to respect you, and to see you every single day for the incredible woman you are. Will you marry me? It was the most terrifying and beautiful moment of her life. He was offering her his truth, which was that his past was a locked box, but his future was an open hand. She knew, with every fiber of her being, that she could either turn away from the mystery or embrace the man. Through her tears, she nodded. Yes. The revelation wasn't about his past. It was a revelation of his heart. And for now, that was enough. The ghost at the wedding. The wedding was a small, intimate affair on the sun-drenched cliffs of Big Sur. Ilera had insisted on simplicity. There were no shareholders, no press. Just a few close friends who looked at Leo with a mixture of curiosity and warmth. He stood under the arch of flowers, looking devastatingly handsome in a simple navy suit. He looked like any other lucky groom, but his eyes never stopped scanning the perimeter, a habit so ingrained it was unconscious. As the officiant spoke, a black SUV pulled up on the distant road, barely visible from the ceremony site. Two men in dark suits got out, watching through binoculars. Leo's body went rigid. His easy smile vanished, replaced by a cold, hyper-focused stillness Ilera had never seen before. His hand, holding hers, tightened almost imperceptibly. Leo, she whispered. What is it? Nothing, my love, he said, his voice low and calm, but his eyes were those of the soldier in the photograph. Just some unexpected guests. Don't worry. He gave a slight, almost invisible nod to the wedding photographer, a burly man named Marcus, who was actually a former Marine and Leo's only trusted friend from his old life. Marcus subtly shifted his position, his camera bag now looking more like a tactical hold doll. Ilera's heart hammered in her chest. This was the moment. The ghost from his past had arrived at the most sacred moment of her present. The conflict was no longer internal. It was here, real, and threatening to shatter her happiness. The officiant asked, Do you, Leo, take Ilera to be your lawfully wedded wife? Leo tore his eyes from the distant road and looked at her. In his gaze, she saw a war raging. Love against duty, peace against violence. But love won. I do, he said, his voice resonating with a finality that felt like a vow far beyond the marital one. He slid the ring onto her finger. And do you, Ilera, take Leo? The men by the SUV got back into vehicle and drove away. The immediate threat, whatever was, had passed. The tension drained from Leo's shoulders, but the shadow in his eyes remained. I do, Ilera said, her voice stronger than she felt. As they kissed, the small crowd erupted in applause, oblivious to the silent drama that had just unfolded. But Ilera knew. She had married a man with secrets, and those secrets had just sent a chilling reminder that they were not forgotten. The happily ever after was going to be harder won than she had imagined. Their honeymoon paradise was haunted before it even began. The Commando's vow, the honeymoon suite in Santorini, was supposed to be a paradise. White walls, blue domes, and an endless expanse of the Aegean Sea. But a cold silence had replaced the anticipated warmth. Ilera stood on the balcony, the sunset painting the sky in fiery hues that she couldn't appreciate. Who were those men, Leo? She asked, her back to him. And don't say no one. I am your wife. I deserve the truth. Leo stood in the doorway, the setting sun casting his long shadow across the room. The facade was gone. The gentle janitor had receded, and in his place stood a man of steel and resolve. They were from my past, Ilera, he began, his voice different, clearer, harder, more authoritative. A past I walked away from to find a life that meant something. To find a peace I thought I didn't deserve. He told her everything. His real name was Leo Walsh, but for 10 years he was known as Cerberus, an elite operative in a DEA/FBI joint task force that targeted high-value cartel leaders. He wasn't just a commando. He was a ghost, a legend. The photograph was from his last mission, a successful raid that took down the head of the Valdez cartel, but at a cost. His cover was blown, and his team was targeted. He was given a new identity and a quiet exit to protect those he loved from retaliation. "The man you met," he said, his voice softening. "The man who mopped floors and quoted poetry. That's the real me. The man I fought to become." The janitor's uniform was my armor of normalcy. It let me be invisible. It let me be near you. Delara turned, tears streaming down her face. "And the man at the wedding?" "Intel. The brother of the man I put away, Mateo Valdez, is out of prison. He's consolidating power, and he has a long memory. He wants to make a statement. They were scouting. They know who I am now. And..." He hesitated. The greatest fear finally spoken aloud. "They know who you are." The world tilted. Her fear for herself was instantly eclipsed by a terrifying, primal fear for him. "We have to go to the police." "The FBI!" she cried. "They are the police, Ilera. Valdez's network is everywhere. We can't trust anyone. We have to disappear. Right now." This was the ultimate test. She could choose her empire, her life of luxury and control, or she could choose the man she loved, a life on the run, shrouded in danger. Leo looked at her, his face a mask of anguish. "I will understand if you can't. I will let you go to keep you safe. It would destroy me, but I would do it." Ilera looked at her husband, not the janitor, not the commando, the man who brought her tea, who protected servers, who loved her enough to propose with nothing but his heart. He had chosen a life of humility to escape the violence. Now, he was willing to walk away from her, to save her from it. She walked to him and took his face in her hands. "You once promised to protect me. You vowed to see me. Well, I see you, Leo Walsh. I see all of you, and I am not letting you go. We face this together." For the first time, a true, weightless smile broke through his soldier's composure. The CEO and the commando, they were no longer titles or secrets. They were partners. As they hurriedly packed, Leo moved with new purpose, every action precise and efficient. He was Cerberus again, but this time his mission was clear. Not to destroy, but to protect. Not for duty, but for love. The humble janitor was gone, but the elite commando had finally come home, not to war, but to his wife. Their journey into the shadows had just begun, but they would face it not as a CEO and her protector, but as husband and wife, equals in the fight for their future.